Good afternoon. I am Meredith Crossan, and for the final project for EED 550, I attended a Safe Zone training here on campus at Jacksonville State University on June the 7th, 2019. The Safe Zone training was an educational experience for those who would like to know more about the LGBTQ plus community here on Jacksonville State University's campus, and also just in the Jacksonville community in general. The Safe Zone has a mission statement, and their statement is that they want to provide a campus-wide program that works to ensure a welcoming environment for all gender identities and sexual orientations. They want to establish an identifiable network of trained individuals committed to fostering an atmosphere of respect and inclusion. So those that go through this training, the idea is that for those who fall into the LGBTQ community, the individuals who have been trained, those that do identify themselves as LGBTQ can come to these individuals whenever they're feeling bullied or they have questions or they just want to seek out some additional counseling. They can come to those that have been through the Safe Zone training and can just talk to them or just find a listening ear. So that is the purpose of this Safe Zone training that I attended. So first, let's just look at the LGBTQ acronym. This acronym is just a shorthand or an umbrella term for all who have a non-normative or queer gender or sexuality. First, the sexualities that come under this acronym are the LGB, and the L is for lesbian, and that is for women who are primarily attracted to other women. Then you have gay, and gay is just when someone experiences attraction solely or primarily to some member of the same gender. And then bisexual is a person who experiences attraction to some men and some women, and those are all fall under sexualities. And on the right side, you will see genders, and you see the term transgender. Transgender is a gender description for someone who has transitioned or is transitioning from living as one gender and they're going to another gender. Okay. For first impressions, we were asked a couple of questions. The first one was, when was the first time you remember learning that some people are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or queer? For me, that was when I was in middle school. I first heard the term gay. I didn't hear the other three terms, but the first one I heard was gay. And where did most of your influence come from? And some of the examples thrown out were like school or work or church or your friends. Mine was definitely, the influence that I received was definitely from my friends at school. I saw things on TV. At my church, it was talked about. As a believer in Christ, we are taught that the way of life of a gay person is wrong and that we are not to hate them. We are to show them love, but we are not to condone their sin. And how have your impressions or understanding of the LGBTQ people changed? Of course, as a middle schooler and a high schooler, I made fun of them because they were different, they looked different, they talked different. But as I have grown up, I have tried to show them love. I've tried to treat them more as an individual and just show compassion for them because first and foremost, they are a person. Some new vocabulary that I learned is cisgender. This is a gender description for when someone's sex assigned at birth and gender identity correspond in the expected way. You can shorten this just to say cis. So an example would be someone who's assigned male at birth and they identify as a man. Intersex is also a new term that I learned, and this is a term for a combination of chromosomes, gonads or hormones, internal sex organs, and genital that differ from the two expected patterns of male or female. An outdated term for this is hermaphrodite. Those that fall in the LGBTQ community, they prefer that you do not say hermaphrodite anymore, this is something new that I learned. They prefer you to say intersex now. And another new term that I learned is pansexual. This is a person who experiences sexual, romantic, physical, and or spiritual attraction for all members of all gender identities or expression. You can also shorten this term down and just say pan. Some new information I learned is preferred pronouns. They have suggested now that when you are sending out an email in your signature line, I would have Meredith Crossman, and I have my title at work and my phone number and a fax number and my email. But also in your signature line, please put your preferred pronoun, because just because you see a girl, that doesn't mean she identifies as a girl. Or if you see a guy name, that doesn't always mean that he identifies as a man. So if you want to identify as a girl, you should put she, her, hers. And then if they want to identify as a man, they would put he, him, hims. And then if they're not really sure what they want to identify as, or if they want to identify as both, they would put they, them, theirs. Also, there is some LGBTQ inclusive language. Like I mentioned before, please do not say the term hermaphrodite. They prefer the term intersex now. When you are referring to both genders, instead of saying both genders or opposite sexes, just say all genders. When you're trying to get the crowd's attention, instead of saying ladies and gentlemen, just say hey everyone or honored guest. Just move away from that binary language. Also, the terms for people's jobs, saying mailman or fireman, just say mail clerk or firefighter, police officer. Also, when someone comes out to you, which is the process when someone accepts and identifies with their gender identity or their sexual orientation, that is a huge thing for some people. It can also be very dangerous for someone. So they gave us a couple of do's and don'ts. Don't tell someone that you always knew or downplay the significance of their sharing their coming out to you. Don't go bragging and telling everybody about your new transgender friend or your new bisexual friend. Don't forget that they are a person. They're a true person. And then don't just start asking a lot of probing questions, and don't cross those personal barriers. And don't assume that you know why they came out. But here's some things that you can do. Know that it's a huge sign of trust. And check in on how they're doing. Just reach out to them and just continue to support them. Show interest and curiosity, and just remember that their gender or their sexuality is just one dimension of them. There are so many other things about them that you can continue to celebrate. So as teachers, what are some insights that we can gain from this? What's some information that we can take away from this? How can we apply this as educators in our schools and in our classrooms? So what I kind of looked at is I wanted to look at some laws about protection for our students. I found this map, and the states that are colored in yellow are states that do have non-discrimination laws designed to protect students based on sexual orientation and also gender identity. The states in blue have laws to protect students based on their sexual orientation, but not on gender identity. And then the states that are in gray, they have no laws at all to protect students on sexual orientation or gender identity. So you can see there are definitely far more gray states than there are yellow or blue states. So continue with insights for teachers. When teachers have been surveyed about LGBTQ students, they say they feel very uncomfortable about this topic. They don't want to talk about it. They shy away from it. They feel pressured to stay quiet, whether that pressure comes from their administration or it comes from their parents. They don't even want to talk about it inside of class or outside of class. And then teachers also feel as if they have a lack of training in this area. They have not been provided any professional development on how to deal with this. Teachers get professional development on math and science and reading. We also get professional development on how to deal with developmental delays, mental health issues. So why is there no professional development on how to help students who are dealing with these issues? So what can we do as teachers and educators? Why not ask for professional development? We need this in our schools to help our students work through this, because this is becoming, well, not only becoming, but it is an issue with our students in our schools. So why not ask for some professional development? Create a safe space for our LGBTQ plus students. This might be the only safe place for them is at school. Let's not forget about our parents. We need to provide student and parent support. Host a student and parent panel. Let the students and parents come and talk about their experiences. And finally, there are some children's books that are starting to pop up with LGBTQ plus characters in them. So I think it's okay to introduce these books to our children when we do read alouds. So here are some resources and organizations that are available on campus at JSU. All of these will take you to the website that is available. These JSU organizations, these are the faculty or staff member that is over each organization. And then in this column, these are all state and national organization. And once again, it's a direct link to each organization. This quote, "Understanding is the first step to acceptance, and only with acceptance can there be recovery." I think this is a great quote for this topic. We're never going to begin to accept those who are different from us until we understand what it is they're going through and their life experiences. One of the students who was a presenter in this training, he talked about how he was at a different school in his hometown, a different university, and his parents found out that he was bisexual, and they removed him from that school. They removed him from his hometown because they didn't want their other family members or friends finding out about him, and they put him in school here at JSU. Once he got here at JSU, he said this campus was so much more open and friendly towards him, and that we had more organizations and resources for him to join. And it had actually been a blessing that he had been removed from his hometown and placed here. So I just think this is a good quote for this. And he had actually been able to start his recovery process through that troubling experience in his home life. Wrapping up, here are some resources that I went out and sought during my little research project. And if you have any questions, you can find me at mlcrossan@jsu.edu. And thank you, and I hope you have a great day.